Hello my loves, welcome to your monthly reading. This is for the month of April 2026, but this is a timeless reading as well. So please just, you know the drill, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, the whole shebang kind of thing. So you have your three piles. We have the Jack of Clubs. I'm going to say clubs. I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to say clubs because I always get clubs and spades confused. But you got the Jack of Clubs as pile 1. Pile 2 is the Queen of Spades. And then pile 3 is the King of Diamonds. And each of the cards behind, we've got a mix of my own deck here. We've got the Thoth Tarot or Troth Tarot, however you want to pronounce it. No one taught me how to pronounce this stuff in the 90s. You just had to kind of figure it out. You've got a sort of universal Gabby Brunstein, universe has your back type of thing as well. I've got gods, goddesses and guardians. I've also got angels and ancestors card here, and I've got the fairy card. So there's quite a bit to go through. I always have my bowl of sort of things. I spent about 9 hours doing these. So it's a mix in the case of, like, you know, if this was a love reading, I'd say this in the context of, you know, you or that person could be like a rock star energy. They could be there's academia there, you know, a strange family member. There's all sorts of things in there. A mix of places and languages and meeting points and all that. I also have my Scrabble wordy thingies, letters, not wordy thingies, letters. So we can try and pick stuff out and pull some names. I may or may not go for either of these. It depends on the reading, because I read intuitively. I feel like a pull, like something's like grabbing me over. And I may or may not feel that. And if I don't, there's no point doing stuff for the sake of it, if that makes sense. But what I will do is do the yes or no coin, because I feel like it's really apt for this reading. So I'll spin that, give it a good spin, and it will either say no or yes. So think of your question for the end. So yes, pile 1. We have Jack of Spades. No, Jack of Clubs. 2, Queen of Spades. And for pile 3, King of Diamonds. So please go ahead and select your reading, and I will see you on the other side. Hello, pile 1. Let me just sort out. I don't know what's happened here. There we go. There we go. Thank you for waiting with me for a minute. So let's look at your reading for the month of April. So obviously, Jack of Clubs. Here, I'm getting like Jack of all trades as the main thing. Someone who has an attention to detail more than anything else. I've not actually worked out how I'm going to lay these out. I want to go like this. Here. Let's use up all the space. Here and here. Does that fit? Yeah, it does. Exciting. Okay. So we're going to go with my deck of cards first. And let's have a look at your whole vibe for April. If I can pick it up. I love these. I know I made them, so I'm biased, but I just love them. They're so stupid. They're great. So your month of April is definitely on the theme of cool story, bro. So, you know, not listening or not being listened to, disinterested, feeling like your time's being wasted, minimal attention, meaningless conversation, avoiding facts. So this to me tells me that, you know, for a fair amount of April, I'm getting work and kind of friends and stuff like that. You've got some friends who are a bit delusional, and, you know, it's that kind of thing, and you're a bit like, cool story, bro. And also workplace, I'm getting this. People are finding things more urgent than they need to be. You know, this urgent thing of we have to get everything done for the financial year, and you're a bit like, we don't. You're creating drama or whichever for nothing, and I feel like you're kind of clocked out. You're kind of half in, half out. A lot of you not really feeling the vibe of April. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, what is today? March 28th. So obviously I'd be doing this before April, but you're kind of, what's the word I want? It is disinterested, but it's also you're going at your own pace. And, you know, everyone's anticipating spring, they're excited for spring, and you're a bit like, there's a storm outside. It's not, we still haven't quite hit Spring, it's definitely going to be like an April showers kind of thing, you know, and you're not drinking the Kool-Aid. How does that sound in terms of what I'm trying to say? You're not really investing, you're not engaging, you're spending more time at home, you're hermiting, you're, you know, with your close circle of people, and that really could just be your best mate and your partner kind of thing. And it's more other people are avoiding facts, and you're just like, cool, I'm not going to waste my time trying to explain something to you guys for you not to listen, you just want me to do it kind of thing. So that is the vibe of April. It's not a bad thing, it just feels like the kind of month where you're kind of a little bit disconnected, a bit disinterested, a bit, everyone else is moving at a kind of faster pace, you know, spring, new season, blah, and you're a bit like, that's great, but nothing has changed. So it's like that kind of feeling. Let's do your tarot first. So I have Knight of Discs, we have got Science, and we have got the Universe. So this tells me, so with the Knight of Discs that we've got right here, you know, you can see, if I can pick these up, there we go. You can see he's sort of looking back in reflection. He's looking at the work that's done. He's come to a breathing spot. He's taken a pause. He's, you know, not that he's wasting time, but he's disinterested in what's going on ahead when he's looking back and kind of reflecting on the past and looking at where he's come from and waiting for the seeds to grow. There's not an urgency with him. It's a kind of, we're stopping and we're resting. Same thing with the horse. Even though the horse is looking forward, it is very much a case of we are stopping here for a second, you know, we're pausing. And that's what this kind of really feels like as well. And then you've got Science, which is that analytical. You've got, it's not overthinking, but it's going through lots of neurotransmitters are firing. You've got different ideas for stuff, but you're also very much, I feel like for a lot of you, trying to work out why everyone is sort of trying to move at a faster pace than what they need to be. And you've got everything aligned. You're kind of fine. It's only other people that's disturbing your peace, which, you know, ain't that the truth? And you're very much like, no, I'm good. I don't I don't need anything. I don't need to be going faster. I don't need to be forcing, you know, the things that we planted to fruit or grow or whatever. You're just taking everything as it is. At this point, you're experimenting, you're looking at things as they are, as opposed to this fast-paced kind of delusion with that. And then you've got the Universe. You have your eye on the big picture. On the Universe, she's kind of naked. The nakedness is a vulnerability. I feel like that's not enough for me to cover. Yeah, you know, you're fine. You've got your kingdom here in the background. You're in time with the divine and the universe. And that's absolutely fine. I want to go here next. I almost want to do it in a anti-clockwise. So with your fairy card, you've got the Gossamer. I'll always mispronounce that. Princess, communication, relationship work to be done. You've got butterflies here. Different coloured butterflies mean different things. Where yellow for me means like a friendship. You know, and there's a little bit of a spike and a web, but she's sat there. And you can kind of see, you know, what was kind of a really sturdy, fruitful web is actually thin now. You know, it's just kind of hanging on. And I feel like you've got relationships, particularly kind of work relationships, that are kind of coming to an end. They don't fill you in the way that they used to. Maybe you just outgrow people. It's not a nastiness or a horrible thing. It's just sometimes you outgrow people. And that's it. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm definitely getting this idea of wanting to spend more time alone. You're disinterested in the kind of noise of the everyday. And like for some of you, and I mean this from a place of love, you know, you've gone through a hard time. You've gone through a death or a bereavement, or, you know, you're grieving. And I know, and this is why I'm giving this example, because at the start of my grieving, when I lost my dad, I was so disinterested in every noise and what this celebrity was doing or that person was doing or what was going on. I didn't, I'm going to swear, I didn't give two shits. I I really didn't. You know, we sat at dinner table and people are like, oh, did you hear about so-and-so? It's like those water cooler moments. And I'm like, I literally do not care. It's not a numbness. It's a, how is everyone so kind of focused on the trivial when the weight of the emotion that you feel is so grand? And it's that kind of thing. You're not fixated on the trivial stuff. You know, that cool story bro reminds me also of, you know, that friend who's just popping off about some kind of really minor thing, but they're making a big drama, and you're a bit like, yeah, that's not, life's too short, just chill out kind of thing. You're just, it's this disengagement, not listening. And that's not a bad thing at all. Sometimes you really do need that. And I'm sorry if you are going through a grief or bereavement or anything else. You know, it changes you. It changes who you are as a person. There's parts of you that die with that person as well, you know. And it doesn't matter how, if it's a family member or how close, you know, you are with someone. When there's a death, you're going to grieve. And you're not just grieving that one person. You end up grieving as it pulls feelings of everyone else, you know, that you've lost as well. You know, grief tends to kind of like stack up and it builds. Yeah. And just take some time for yourself. So we've got, High Priest of Atlantis, that kind of chakra healing. This is, you're using April as a month to kind of realign yourself, you know, and disengage. Atlantis even is obviously, have your own opinion if it's mythical or factual or whatever else. But either way, it's a mystery. And I feel like people view you as a mystery. And people will view you more as a mystery in April as you're kind of checking out a little bit. You know, you're taking a moment, a seat. Maybe you're going to the park and reading a book and just having those moments of cultivating peace for yourself. Water Guardian, connect with your emotions. I'm hoping you can see that. You know, this is about really feeling your feelings, being in your emotions and diving kind of real deep with that. She's kind of part mermaidy fish and part angel. I can't remember which angel this is. I want to say Uriel, but I feel like I'm completely wrong. You know, but it's dive deep with that. And I feel like you really are. You're just on a different emotional plane than a lot of the people around you, particularly in April. And I feel like you can tolerate a lot of it mostly, but for April, it's a little bit of a struggle. I can't pick this card up. So here is your advice when I can, oh my goodness, pick this card up. I'm just going to move here. This is going to be 2 minutes of me trying to pick up a freaking card. Come on. Oh, stop it. There we go. No. I can't pick 2 cards up. There we go. We got there. Sorry, I'm not even going to bother editing that out because you're just going to see how messy I am. There we go. There is a stream of love supporting my dreams. So regardless of what happens in April, there is people who support you. There are people who love you. There are people who will continuously have your back. No matter what, you know, they will send you good luck. They will send you love. They will be happy for your successes and for your dreams. And just lean on that a bit more. You know, remember that you are loved and that you are love. And it doesn't matter if, you know, you don't have the tolerance for people or family or whatever for April. You know, people that love you will still be there in May. So it's that kind of thing. I am going to pull some of these out. So give that a bit of a shake. And I want to pull these out. You watch me not be able to pick these up. There we go. Prove myself wrong. So we have police, law enforcement. So you or the people that you're dealing with more in April could be police and law enforcement. I'm not getting, you know, it being like a criminal thing in that sense, or that somebody's being arrested or whatever. But it could just be that you need advice or seeking with people or your friends in that industry. Garden. So you're spending more and more time in the garden. or just outside. I said about how going into a forest and reading a book helps. Animal care and veterinary, maybe you are in that industry, or you're watching and engaging with more, I don't know, YouTubers for animal care and veterinary and learning from stuff, or you want more of that kind of academic stimulation, so you're engaging more with, you know, that content and those people. An open book. You are one of those people, pile one, that if your words don't say it, your face will. And if your face says something, your words might not. But you are one of those that you're fairly easy to read. People are going to see that you're kind of clocked out, whatever. And you don't really care. Somebody you're dealing with, possibly, or even you, speaks Marthi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is Madrid, so maybe you're looking at going to Madrid. Maybe you're from Madrid, or you're dealing with someone or people who are Spanish or from Madrid. Apply for that job. So maybe with April, you're just kind of sick of your workplace and you're thinking you're going to apply for that job, you're going to go for it. Maybe that job's in childcare, or you're dealing with a child or children in that sense, or you're wanting to go into more of an industry or a career that kind of lights you up a bit more as well. You could be a meat eater, or be with someone who eats meat with that, or have some kind of like, not confrontation, but you know, that cool story bro could be very much like that person's boring you about how their steak wasn't done in the right way, and you're like, I literally would rather punch myself in the face than carry on with this conversation. Swahili, someone who speaks Swahili. Retired, maybe you're thinking of retiring or early retirement, or you're leaving a service like the military or whichever else, and you know, and you're wanting to do something else or look at a different stage or career. Take that sabbatical. There we go. So again, take that time to really kind of, you know, look at what it is that you want to do. Maybe you want to re-educate yourself. Maybe you want to go in police and law enforcement. Maybe you want to go into some kind of animal care and veterinary, you know, with that. And always dress as in a specific colour. So maybe that's you always dress in a specific colour. You want to kind of change things up a little bit. Or you're dealing with people in an office where you all have to wear specific colours or uniforms, whichever else. I don't know if you can see, but right here is the word vegan. So maybe, you know, you're a vegan, or I'm going to pull that out. You're a vegan, or you're looking at going plant-based or whatever, and your friend who's a meat eater is just like, oh, I hate vegans, blah, 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 blah. You won't get enough protein, bro. And you're like, okay, cool, but the science backs this. So take it how it resonates. And obviously I'm just plucking things out of my head. And I am slightly biased because I am a vegan. I have been for 13 years. Yeah, 13 years this year. So like, I hear all of this stuff as well. Not from everyone. It really is subject to the person. But sometimes people are like, how are you not malnourished? Where'd you get your protein from? Just all of that. And you're like, I really cannot be asked to have this conversation. So take that as it resonates. Okay, I do want to pick out some letters. This is going to be a little loud. Ooh, that letter's gone. Can I? No, that letter's gone. Oh, shit, sorry. I have no idea where that's gone. That's what I picked out. There we go. Right, give me a second to turn these around. So I've got 2 blanks. Maybe, this is a really horrible thing to say. Maybe you're dealing with a person who literally like, they're as thick as a wooden blank kind of thing, or thick as a wooden plank. You know, maybe even if you rubbed 2 planks together, there'll be no sparks, there'll be nothing flying in the brain. But yeah, I'm going to put those there. I'm going to put, I don't know how to put all of these. Let's move some of these. Give me a second while I just tidy up a little bit. So, I'm going to put these here. I'm going to move these up to here. Put those there. Thick as 2 planks. I did say it right. Let's move this up here. Oh my goodness. Can't freaking pick anything up with this table on my nails. There we go. So, can you see? Yeah, you can see stuff now. So, 2 blanks. Get a H-A-U-E. Right, just as I organise this, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this reading, please like and subscribe. Please share it along. Please also, if you see anything that relates or connects here that I don't, especially with the letters, because I am super dyslexic, please make a note in the comments. It just helps other people as well when they're reading and having a look. There's always people watching. So yeah, it's those moments are kind of really nice where people are talking and communicating with each other and kind of sharing that knowledge. Right, we would pick a bunch of letters with Z and X. I'm hearing Xander. Maybe you're dealing with a meat-eating Xander. In that way. I'm seeing Hex. There we go. So maybe... Yeah, okay, this is a weird thing to pick up, but we're going with it. So Hex in the form of not hexing people, but maybe you just have a bit of a resting bitch face. In the way that you're listening to someone, but actually it looks like you're just kind of hexing them with your facial expressions. That's what I got, you know. Or maybe you're thinking, wow, this person really is cursed to be dumb, or whichever else. I'm getting like a lot of, you're just vibrating on a different level. I'm getting Fae, as in somebody is delusioned in fairyland. No, I don't have. Could I make... No, I can't make Fairy, because I don't know why. Yeah, or the name Fae as well. It's Fae in different variations. I'm getting Hun, where you're trying to be nice to someone. You know, that we all have that friend where they'll say something a little bit cutting, and you know, in an email you put it, you know, with respect, yada yada yada. Whereas when engaging with someone, you'd be like, and this negative point, Hun. It's that kind of vibe with it. What else? There's not much. Maybe with these letters, but I don't want to pull any more. I feel like, yeah, these could also be names and nicknames for people. Nyx is obviously the Greek goddess of night and something to be feared, something that wasn't really understood, as she was actually a titan, if I'm correct in saying that. Hey, maybe you're reconnecting more with people as well. You're communicating. I'm getting like a text message kind of thing rather than meeting in person. You're like, you know what, I'm just going to drop you a message at some point. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave that as it is. I'm sure there'll be something else as well. Honey. Again, that goes down with Hun. You know, that's more of a slang way of saying honey, especially, you know, in England. Right. Pick your question. We're going to do a yes or no. And if there's not really much of a spin on it, just take that as a maybe. So if you just take a deep breath in and out, and we're going to spin. Oh, good spin. And the answer to your question is yes. That is the answer to your question. Brill. Thank you so very much. Obviously, there's not much to go on with the letters, but please just take what resonates. It might be initials for people that you're dealing with or have to deal with, or whichever else. Use the 2 blanks, hilariously. And yeah, thank you so much. Please have a look at the other readings that I do. I will continue to try and put out long form readings as much as I can. Thank you so much. Have a lovely April. Hello, pile 2. Right, let's get cracking. So you have the Queen of Clubs, Spades, Clubs. You're the Queen. You are the Queen more than anything else. And I'm really looking at her looking at this flower. And I want to be like, you know, go smell the roses, go be a queen, go take a minute. So we're going to start over with these, and I'm going to start with my first card. So this is for your month of April. Stick to your morals. What choices are you making that are against your morals? Who's shaking your morals? Stand your ground, know your truth, stay classy. You know, that's your main theme for the month of April. And obviously timeless reading, take what resonates, yada yada. But yeah, stick to your morals. You are the queen. You know, you don't need to worry about anything. Smell the roses. So we can do your tarot. So we've got peace, which is the Two of Swords. We've got, One of Cups, which is the Ace of Cups. I keep wanting to say swords. And we've got completion. So Four of Wands, real Aries kind of energy here. I'm going to put those like that. You have your Gabby Brinstein, which is your advice for the month, which is, my faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. So I'm going to put that up here. And then you've got your ancestor, which is a great one. Trust your instincts, animal guardian. Fantastic. You have Athena, wise decision. You are really in your element this month, pile 2. There's really there's a regalness. You're sat on your throne. You're smelling the roses. You're not bothered about the opinions of other people. And then you've got your fairy card, which is the unicorn and the maiden. Communication with the unicorn, purification, undercover action. This is about seeing things that other people don't want to see, and also having your spirit team on your side as well, with that like literally blessing you by throwing petals on top of you. So you've got a really good month coming, pile 2 as well. We are going to pick out some of these slips. I forgot what they were called. Some of these bits and some letters, and obviously your coin. But yeah, just to kind of get into it. So with the tarot, I'm looking at this progression. So if we go left to right kind of thing, a piece which is perfect. You know, there's a piece to a situation, there's a piece to your life, there's a real centeredness, you're cultivating more peace. You know, you're waking up a bit earlier every morning and just, you know, starting your day with a herbal tea and just sitting for 5 minutes and having that peace, that minute for yourself. You know, establishing sort of mindfulness practices, and you're just everything, you see how everything's aligned kind of here. There's a kind of symmetricalness with that. You know, you're really balancing things in a really lovely way this month. With that and peace, there's a, you know, beautiful pastely light blue to the petal, which reminds me of the heart, in the way that you're just allowing yourself to really feel peace in your core, in your chakras, in your heart-centered point. It's a really lovely card, and I feel like your relationships are at peace. I feel like you're one of those ones, pile 2, where there is family drama. I was trying to say drama and trauma at the same time, but I really wanted to say drama. But we're going to go with drama. Yeah, we're going to go with that. So family trauma, family drama, there's things from the past, there's things present. I feel like there's a bit of grief and bereavement here as well. Some of you are grieving. I'm really sorry for that. I definitely am. It takes a while, you know, and I feel like grief and bereavement changes you, but you learn to live with it in different ways. And there are days and times where that is very difficult, you know, and days where you feel like, I can continue stepping forward, kind of thing. Yeah, you're very at peace with your emotions and everything. And then you've got Ace of Cups, which is kind of a joy. There is going to be so much joy this month. So many things coming to fruition, even with like completion. Any projects you start in April will complete really, really well. You've got Aries in various different points, and then the bird. So if you need people to help you with completing a project, an essay, an assignment, maybe you're doing a bit of DIY or spring cleaning, it will get done. You know, you have everything to back you up on that side. Yeah. I was going with the number 7 here. I was thinking kind of lucky number 7. You'll be seeing things like the angel number 777 if you don't already. And that is your sign to be like, okay, you know, crack on. And yeah, there's always going to be people that challenge you. Stick to your morals, stick to your grounds. You know, if you want, we'll take the example of DIY. If you want to paint a whole mural on the side of your living room wall, and people are like, don't do that, you'll regret it later, whatever else. Stick to what you like and what you want to do, really. It doesn't, nobody else's opinion matters other than your own. I'm just going to change this slightly because we're very much over, you're facing my tea, my very cold tea. So yeah, that's what you've got there with the unicorn and the maiden. Like I said, some of this is really about, you know, being blessed from the universe, having, really seeing through people and really just look at her face. She's not taking any kind of nonsense, any criticism, no, nothing. Purification, undercover work, communication with the unicorn. When I see unicorn, I think of the divine in that aspect, because they're magical, they're mystical, and everything else. You in connection with the universe for the month of April. We've got Athena. I love these cards. If I can pick things up. There we go. You know, look at the beauty and the regalness, the way she's connected to nature here, as well with the owl. There's a gold regalness as well. Again, I'm thinking queen, and the wise decisions. This is a wise decision that somebody with foresight would make, somebody who sees all, somebody who's strategic. You know, these are not rash decisions. They're well thought out decisions, you know, that cater and look after everyone as well. Can I pick this up? Let's try. These nails on this table. You've got the animal guardian, so like trust your instincts this month. You are like at peace, in connection with different animals, and I feel like in your case these animals will represent a different person. You know, maybe we're going to go with this thought. Maybe your mother is more of a panther type personality. There's somebody who sits high up in a tree and watches. I don't know if panthers sit in a tree, but this is what we're going to do. You know, maybe they sit up in a tree and watch everyone, or they're just very aware of different things. I'm pretty sure panthers sit in a tree. Yeah, you know, they're very aware of everything. Maybe your child is slightly more, maybe you've got 3 kids and one's more like a wise old owl. Again, owl, Athena, they're giving you decisions. One's a bit more crow-like and they're a bit more, I don't know, goth, alternative, whichever, and they're a bit more flittery. Or they tend to answer back. Crows are really good at mimicking human voices. And then maybe your youngest, for example, is a bit more of like a little deer that needs cradling, that kind of thing. Take this as it resonates. You've obviously got the antlers on either side. Antlers in any kind of deck means wisdom as well, and connect with Athena and that kind of stuff. You know, and there's a real lovingness to this card, a real sort of sense of family and community, whatever that looks like for you. Could actually be your pets. You know, maybe one of your cats is a bit owl looking. You know, they've got a kind of roundness in their face. Take it how it resonates. And again, if I can pick this up, your card for the month really is, you know, my faith has the power to turn trauma. Oh, we were talking about trauma. Yeah. Trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. You have everything at your disposal. And again, we've got like a family tree kind of thing, you know, in a kind of spring color as opposed to autumn, and 2 different kinds of the moon as well here. Yeah, that's really lovely. You've got a really lovely month coming along. You know, there's I'm seeing bits of playfulness, bits of enjoying some of the weather, bits of just a sense of peace overall. So let's give this a kind of shake. There we go, things are moving. Maybe you're an influencer, content creator. That was looking at me. Yeah, well, we'll pull it out. There we go. Influencer, content creator, or dealing with an influencer, kind of content creator. Maybe you're watching more YouTube stuff, and maybe with the projects, maybe you're wanting to start your own YouTube. You know, this YouTube is 10 years in the making. I've been wanting to do it for 10 years and haven't been able to. And maybe you do, and you start, you know, this in April, and you'll continue to grow and bring that newness into completion. Film, TV, and theatre as well. Maybe you're wanting to do work experience, or you work in that industry, or, you know, volunteer as well. You know, so, and maybe you have projects. Maybe you've always wanted to write a play. Whatever you start will complete, and you'll find the right people to help. Self-employed, maybe some of you are self-employed. Healing arts, again, we've got this kind of artistic, creative aspect of it. Maybe join a workshop, see what's around. I mean, I live in the freaking middle of nowhere, kind of the armpit of the Midlands. I love it. The armpit sounds horrible, but and yet in my village, there's like a great big kind of hippie community, which I didn't know existed until quite recently. It's not, when I moved here, I didn't know that. And it's perfect. Everything kind of aligns and it's perfect. I feel like that's the kind of thing for you this month. You go have a walk and not think about where you're going to go. Just have a wander and look at where you live. Look at different events. Look at different things, Get out there. Garden. Get out into nature, into that space, into that springtime. I do feel like we're going to have a bit of a kind of rainier April. I'm just saying, we're not obviously in April yet this year, but yeah, a bit of a winter showers. Autumn, fall, maybe some of the things that you're working on, you launch and you bring to a completion in a sense that you've completed the launch and the groundwork here, and then things start to take off kind of in April, fall. Storyteller, again, we've got this kind of storytelling, arts, film, theatre, that kind of stuff. Dive in, go for it. Cindy? Take that as it is. I feel like that's a language. I wrote down a lot of languages. It took 9 hours to put all of this together. It might be a place. I'm so sorry, because I've got the memory of a sieve when I'm doing messages. Anything else. It could also be someone's name, but this definitely feels like a place or a language. I feel like it's a language. Maybe you're wanting to learn a new language. Maybe you're wanting to... Okay, it's a weird thought. Maybe you're wanting to look into your DNA. Maybe you want to put your kind of, here we go, family history together as well, and you find something that connects you to the language or the place with that language or that kind of stuff. You discover different parts of yourself. The storyteller could be you telling your family story. Maybe you're writing a book. Be that kind of thing. So let's move this up so I can do your words. This is going to get a little loud, so give me a sec. So pile 1 got like no letters and you've got a few. I suddenly have that song like honey honey da 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 da. It's like that just in my head, and it's like what's the lyrics, like you are my baby girl da 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 da. I can't remember the rest of it. Look up that song. It might be really relevant. Hot. So maybe there's a bit of romance in April. Maybe there's a little cheeky get together. A little, yeah, it feels sweet as opposed to a are you up text kind of thing. So I'm going to turn this around. Somebody has an accent. They're like me. They're like that Latin American. Could be French, but that Latin American, the way that, we don't say, how would you say it? Tortilla. A tortilla. We say tortilla. Or tortilla. You kind of roll. And my accent's all over the place. I've got tato. You can tell I'm Irish. Yeah. Yeah. I did say something about languages as well. Yeah. This is going to take me a sec. Toil. Toil. So somebody's on about taking holiday, taking some springtime holiday. I know in the UK we have bank holidays as well. Oh, that was a blank. Blank slate. Which is different to what I got on the first group. Blanks. So, I'm just going to get this in order. And then we're just going to have a look at the words. Have a little look yourself. Please write in the comments. Please also like and subscribe as well. I really, really appreciate it. And it means a lot for someone who is a new YouTube creator. I want to keep putting these out. And I want to make sure these get to, the right people and right places as well. I really want to pick that out. Oh, strong jaw. So maybe if you are in a romanticness, in a whole romantic vibe for April, you know, maybe the significant person could have a really strong jaw. I don't mean like a Johnny Bravo type chin thing. I mean just a strong jaw in general. There's a couple of words. I'm already getting Tamara or Tamira. That reminds me of the sister. There's a nostalgic thing with this. Yeah, toil, toll. I can't spell toll, but you know, like a toll in terms of like you go through a toll bridge kind of thing, going on an adventure, it's that kind of stuff. I am super dyslexic, and so sometimes when we look at these letters, as opposed to me writing things down, they look so weird and different that my brain just farts. My brain just has a moment and just breaks down, and it goes, yes, letters. So, yeah, it just has a thing. Lit. So something could be lit, as in really good, I'm told. Because I feel so old. I'm getting Princess Bride. I'm getting, his name's not in here, but like Iago. It's that, in the way he connects, you know, obviously he's going out, he's seeking vengeance for his dad, but for him, family is such a strong thing. You know, his connection to Fezzik, for example, and the other characters, in the way he sees and perceives love. You know, he is incredibly loyal. He's a hero to the whole thing. Even though he's vengeance and revenge and all the rest of it. Yeah. There's a real love for his family. Toy, so there could be a playfulness or anything else. Alt. Somebody's alternative. I really keep looking at these letters and their initials or names for someone. As said Q. They're also, oh my god, this is really going to bug me. If you know what I'm on about, which is probably not, write in the comments. But these three letters stand for something, and I can't remember what it is, but I'm seeing like a brand in my head. It's like a car brand in an advert. Maybe some of you are getting a new car, or you're looking at upgrading as well, and just having that, you know, moving from your inner sanctuary, which is your home, into your car, into your travel, into your day-to-day as well. I'm just also seeing like some of you trying out new recipes as well, like you're trying to spruce up a couple of things and try some things out. Yeah, Viago is another one. IUD. Yeah, have a look, see what resonates. Put it in the comments for me. Yeah, like I said, I'm super dyslexic, and sometimes my brain just has a meltdown and goes, yes, letters, that's nice. Rather than making up any words. And then I'm going to look back on this and be like, there's this word, there's this word, there's this word. Yeah. No. Right, think of your question. We have a yes, or we have a no. If there's not much of a spin, take it as a maybe. Are we in the middle here? Yeah. Oh, that needs to stop. Ready? Take a deep breath in and out. I'm going to try that one more time because there wasn't much of a spin. So that was a yes first time round. Try again. That's a no. We're going to do it one more time because I don't feel like that was a great spin. Oh. Take it as a no. Can you do that one more time? That was very loud, sorry. Yeah, that's not spinning. So that's a no. As well to your question. I feel like some of you wanted to ask two questions. So your first one was a yes and your second one was a no. With that, if you just ask one question, take it as a no or take it as a maybe. Take what resonates, anything else. Thank you so much for watching. It's greatly appreciated. Like I said, please engage. It helps me as a creator continue to make these and have these messages pushed out to people who really need them. And yeah, please give me feedback on various different bits. You know, I can do more things with the letters or whichever else. And thank you so much. Have a lovely April. Hello, pile 3. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to get cracking with your month. This is April. Obviously, this is a timeless reading. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, all of that kind of stuff. Have fun, or anything else. So you have the King of Diamonds, and I feel like there's a contract. Part of me wants to be like he's doing a dance, because the little hands doing that on either side. And the other part means, you know, he's taking with one hand, giving with the other. Taking with one hand, giving with the other. There's a contract. I'm really drawn to his hands. Maybe some of you are moving house and you're, you know, handing your keys back to one place and gaining the keys from another place. It's that kind of thing. So this is part of my deck. This is your vibe for the whole month of April. I love these cards. So it says, I'm going to throw up. Ew, the ick, sickness, disgusted, anxiety. So this feels like an overwhelm for me in terms of, you know, a mixed bag of emotions, but definitely, I've just realised I've scuffed my new nails. But definitely a kind of, yeah, this feeling is of, I want to deal with this stuff. There is a sickness, there's a burnout, there's an anxiety, but there's also a case of like having to deal with very adult type stuff that you really don't want to be dealing with. So we'll look at your tarot next. I'll put that there. Yeah. So we've got interference. This card, for me, when it comes up, really is a kind of being like, stop assuming, stop, you know, ruminating on stuff that you can't control. It's, you know, you need to step aside and let the universe step in. That's what this card really stands out for me. You have cruelty, which a lot of times is not just about people bullying or being cruel to you. It is about the narrative of how you speak to yourself. You know, maybe you're at a point where you can't really afford to be sick, or you have so much to do and the sickness feels like a burden, and you need to kind of really take the time to rest as well with that. And then Queen of Swords, which she is very naked, and I just realized, and I keep doing that. You know, there's a vulnerability to her here. She has the sort of clarity. She's high up. You know, you see, you're not wearing your old masks. You see that you need to give yourself time to rest, you know, not feel guilty for rest, and also just only control the things that you can kind of control, you know, with April. And I feel like by the end of April, you'll be there, you know. If we take the aspect of moving house, maybe the old you would have left all of the moving, all of the packing to like 3 days before, you know, and then really beat yourself up about it and felt overwhelmed and, you know, like you were never going to move out or move in on time or everything else. Whereas this time around, you're going, okay, what do I need to do? Let's get organized. Let's change. This is about changing habits and behaviors, you know, with this. And yeah, maybe you move into your new place and find it hasn't been cleaned. You know, there is that. This is your advice, your Gary Brunstein advice for the month. Energy flows, excuse me. Energy flows where my intention goes. So again, this is, you know, where are you putting your focus? Where are you looking at the getting rid of those old habits as well? Your ancestor card of the month. Autumn, release the old and rest. Here we go. So we've got rest again. You know, releasing the old, release the old habits, release the things that no longer serve you, rest, take that time to rest. You know, you might have every intention to rest, but actually not action it. So your energy, applying that restfulness, lying on the sofa, ordering that takeaway, that kind of stuff. You know, you don't have to carry the whole world on your shoulders, is what I want to tell you. And then the Gods and Goddesses garden. Apollo is one of my favorite. And you can see everything is at his disposal here. But this really is about divine messages that you have been repeatedly told and in this cycle of you need to rest, you need to look after yourself, you need to sleep, you need to balance. Some of you as well, I'm hearing you're not getting any younger. You're not in your early 20s, or you're not 18 or 19 anymore, or whichever else. You can't, I mean, my God, do I feel this, but you can't like work all day, you know, work all week, get to Friday, go out and, you know, stay out till 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then go to work on a Saturday, or deal with your kids on a Saturday, or whatever else. You know, you go out and you have like half a bottle of wine or a couple of beers or whatever else, and you're hungover for the next 5 days. You know, you're not in that space. You know, you spend all your weekend working, you're going to burn out. You need to be able to rest, and it's not failure, it's filling your own cup in order to continue to be productive and to be at your best. We can't be at our best 24/7. You know, look at batteries. Batteries need recharging. You know, they get to a certain point, you need to recharge them, plug them in, change the battery, chuck out the old, whatever, you know. And I'm feeling like I keep being drawn to his, not lyra. Is it lyra or a lute? I can't remember. But the musical instrument that Hermes made. And being like, you're hearing this stuff, you're hearing the messages, you know, in songs and in music, and you're going, it's ironic that song came on, you know, but it's messages here from the divine as well. You need to recoup. And then 3 graces. So corporate venture with friends, joy sharing, new partnerships that are fun. 3 graces, you've got your past, present, and future. Again, we're going back to this whole idea of you've been here before, you've been at, some of you, the point of burnout. Continuously, you're just in that cycle. You get ill, you recover. I mean, I'm this is very much me. I get ill, I recover, I work. I get ill, I recover, I work. it's this mix, and really it just needs to be a balance across the board rather than a cycle. And ask your friends, you know, corporate ventures with friends, ask your friends for help. Ask people to, you know, put boundaries in. Ask people, you know, for help for things that you really need. If you can afford to pay for a local window cleaner instead of doing it yourself, you know, then do that. You don't have to take on the world. It's fine. You know, order a food delivery to home, however, or say to your mate, listen, when you go to whatever supermarket you go to, or the shop, can you pick this up for us, please? Or, you know, your neighbor, or, you know, it's about collaboration with that. And people are there for you more than you realize. And a lot of April is going to be joy, it's going to be sharing, it's going to be meeting up with people, being in the community. Some of you will be, you know, meeting up with your congregation, I'm hearing, as well. But, you know, with all those things, don't be the one that says, yes, I'll make 500 cupcakes and 5 of the, or you know, 50% of these will be gluten-free and vegan and this, that, and the other. And yes, it's wonderful. And I'm saying this as a vegan. It's wonderful to be catered for. But I'd rather you focus on yourself. I'd rather you focus on your needs than trying to rescue or be the savior for everyone else, you know? I'd rather you be present rather than to the point of exhaustion by making 500 cupcakes. It's that kind of stuff. You know, maybe go out into the community and instead of volunteering, actually enjoy what there is to offer. Allow other people to step in. You know, rent a removal van if you're moving. Things don't have to be done right now in this instant at this time. Take your time with stuff. So, I'm going to move these up. And then we're going to take some stuff out of the bowl. Let's give it a shake. I feel like I want to kind of tip it. See what comes out. It's not tipping. Okay, we don't want to tip. That's fine. My chaotic energy, welcome. Sorry, this is so loud. Okay. Oh, we got a few. That's cool. Okay. So, not all of these will resonate. Take what does, leave what doesn't. Yada, yada, yada. Turkey. Maybe some of you are from Turkey. Maybe you love the Turkish culture. Maybe you're thinking of booking a holiday to Turkey, in which case, maybe you need to, you know, look at a spa in Turkey and kind of go, you know what, I'm clocking off for a long weekend. Obviously, we have the benefit of that being in Europe. Gaming and animation. maybe you need to, in terms of relaxing, need to do some gaming. Maybe you really want to start to learn and get into animation. Take what resonates. Korean. So if you're someone like me, I love Korean reality TV. Don't ask me why, I just do. I love like a lot of Korean food. I tend to veganify Korean food. I'm talking predominantly a lot about more South Korean than North. You could also be, you know, in that aspect, relate to what I'm saying, or could be going to a new Korean restaurant, or immersing yourself in the culture, or getting involved with, you know, things in the village, or talking to or dealing with, you know, somebody from Korea. Take what resonates. Hello, my love. So hilariously, my microphone died and I didn't notice. So I'm just going to show you the rest of your bits as I hold this camera, because why wouldn't something go wrong during my readings? You know, chaos. So as I was saying, you have social media, you have softy and sensitive. I think I was just about to say how, you know, you or somebody that you're dealing with is a bit of a softy, kind of sensitive. They have a very distinct laugh. I have a very distinct laugh. My laugh changes from this kind of like husky little giggle to something very loud. Social media, you could be engaging a lot more on social media, or meet your significant other if you are single on social media. So places, we got Zambia, we got Korean, we got about meeting at a sports event. I also had this idea of, you know, maybe you're looking for someone to collaborate with in terms of a business aspect or whichever, and you meet them at a sports event. You got Singapore as well, and then you have a couple of different things over here. So obviously Turkey, I talked about kind of a spa with this kind of thing. You got the traveler and adventurer, holiday, vacation, a trip. Maybe you just book a weekend away. It doesn't have to be a major thing, but it's just a break. And then I get, for a lot of readings, the apply for that job. I feel like there's a lot of you watching this. You just need that little kick or that permission that says, apply for that job. You lose anything by applying, but just go for it. Because maybe this kind of, I'm going to throw up, is more to do with case with work. Maybe you're just feeling sick of work and everything else. And also, you know, you got different things like gaming, animation, UX, product design, music, performance, gamer. You're working in a zoo with animals, you know, or at a sports event, you might see a job opening that they want, I don't know, a coach, a football coach, or whichever else, or soccer coach, whichever. You know, you don't lose anything by applying for those jobs, but also you don't know where it leads you. Like, I did not anticipate or pick out the job that, or the industry that I'm in. I just kind of fell into it. And you know what? I've never been happier at work. I've been in my role 7-8 years, and I love it. And I love my job. Very passionate about the work that I do. And tarot reading is just a side thing. Maybe that's something that you kind of need to do. And then you had these letters. Apologies for the shadow. I'm just holding the mic. So I got spa as one of them. I got every and evermore. I'm going to try and remember what I got. You know, I talked about spa, going to Turkey, kind of thing. Sorry for this shaking. The every and evermore thing could be like that kind of nostalgia, like goth kind of sort of thing, you know, going deep diving into Edgar Allan Poe. With that, I got a couple of other things that were kind of more nostalgic, like Zorg, and, you know, from different TV shows and everything else, and things like Scooby-Doo. That was it. As well, I got QI, as in the shows, which tells me that sometimes maybe in your role that you're kind of potentially sick of, you need more kind of academic stimulation. We'll say it like that. You know, maybe you're bored. Maybe the things are tedious. Life is a bit too everyday. You know, and that's fine. I'm going to okay, so for your first, I did pull this through. So the first time you got a no for your first question, and then I felt like some of you had asked the second question, so you got a yes for the second one as well. And that is a very quick rundown of what was said and what we talked about. Who knows? There is the microphone. It is charging now. Who knows? Maybe this helps and resonates with people. But yeah, thank you so very much for watching. Please like and subscribe because it really helps me and obviously helps Jinx over here. And it helps get the messages out. And if there's any kind of other words that I've missed, please put them in the comments because it really helps everyone. I'm really dyslexic, so I won't see things, or I'll see things different to how you guys see them. But yeah, thank you so much.